What I'm trying to say now is that if you love your souls, and if you don't want to be bankrupted, if you don't want to be torn apart from your families, if you don't want to be stressed out, if you don't want to be sick, if you don't want to be ignorant, do not go inside the kingdom of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy.
A Filipino pastor sought by U.S. federal authorities for his alleged involvement in a complex trafficking operation was arrested, officials announced on Sunday. Now, his victim has revealed what she saw in his underground tunnels. Apollo Quiboloy, the founder and leader of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ Church, whose followers refer to him as the appointed Son of God, has been apprehended in the Philippines, according to an announcement by the country's Interior Secretary, Benjamin Abalos, on his official Facebook page. Abalos refrained from disclosing specifics about the arrest or the events leading up to it. Similarly, Rommel Francisco Marbil, the head of the Philippine National Police, confirmed Quiboloy's detention but offered no further details, as reported by the Associated Press. Philippine officials, including President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., have repeatedly urged the fugitive to turn himself in, as he continues to evade arrest on charges of mistreatment and trafficking in the country. The pastor faces similar charges in the U.S., where he appears on the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Most Wanted list for what the agency describes as his alleged participation in a labor trafficking scheme that brought church members to the United States. Quiboloy is accused of masterminding a scheme where church members were pressured into soliciting donations for a fake charity, which, according to the FBI, was actually used to finance church activities and support the extravagant lifestyles of its leaders. The range of alleged offenses linked to Quiboloy and other leaders within his church is extensive. U.S. authorities, including the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, have accused them of recruiting women to serve as personal assistants, referred to as pastorals. These women were reportedly coerced into engaging in close acts with Quiboloy as part of a ritual known as night duty, while also handling his meal preparations and maintaining his properties. In 2021, a U.S. District Court indictment charged Quiboloy and two senior associates with orchestrating a trafficking scheme. Young women and girls were allegedly manipulated into engaging in close acts with the church leader, under the threat of eternal damnation. The indictment, brought by a federal grand jury, accused him of conspiring to commit trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion, trafficking minors, and smuggling large sums of cash. Following the charges, the FBI issued a federal warrant for his arrest. Authorities suspect that Quiboloy, the 74-year-old self-declared appointed Son of God, was in hiding within a bunker, accompanied by 4 of his alleged accomplices. The location is believed to be hidden deep beneath the vast 30-hectare grounds of his religious organization, the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, situated in Davao, a city in the southern Philippines. Former President Rodrigo Duterte, whose family considers Davao to be its political bastion, has Quiboloy as his spiritual advisor. By September 6th, the manhunt had stretched into its 14th day, with KOJC supporters persistently confronting law enforcement in an effort to prevent the execution of a court-ordered arrest warrant for the pastor and his associates. A vast deployment of thousands of police officers was underway, all part of a large-scale operation focused on capturing the fugitive pastor and bringing him to justice. The PNP has discovered a complex network of underground rooms and secret tunnels at the KOJC property, despite the fact that Quiboloy has not yet been located. This involves the identification of multiple sites that are thought to have been used to imprison women who were coerced into performing favors for the apocalyptic preacher. We will not stop until Quiboloy is arrested. We are not going to turn our backs against the helpless and voiceless victims of Quiboloy, stated Brigadier General Nicholas Torre III, the police chief of the Davao region, on September 6th during a Senate committee hearing examining the efforts to apprehend Quiboloy. The investigation was headed by Senator Ronald De La Rosa, a former PNP chief during Duterte's administration. Accompanied by fellow Duterte supporters, Senators Robin Padilla and Bong Go, they traveled to Davao City to hold the hearing on site. Brigadier General Torre revealed that they discovered a bedroom belonging to Quiboloy in the basements of all 3 buildings within the compound. These rooms were encircled by additional bedrooms, which, according to the police, were occupied by women whom Quiboloy is said to have had close relations with. Speaking to Senator De La Rosa, Brig Gen Torre stated, "What I'm saying, sir, is that the evidence that we saw supports the arrest warrant issued against Quiboloy because he was having the sex with a young one." In the Philippines, 16 is the legal age of consent. However, De La Rosa said that Brig Gen Torre was acting maliciously because the KOJC complex included no additional hard evidence to support his allegations. Ahead of the Senate hearing on September 6th, Brigadier General Torre had revealed to reporters in early August that a network of tunnels existed within the KOJC compound, one of which supposedly led to a private hangar once used by Quiboloy to store his jet. The hangar is connected by a taxiway straight to Davao's International Airport, which is situated right next to the KOJC property. Authorities are tightly securing the area, ensuring that no one can slip away. The PNP uncovered a 3-story underground facility beneath a mansion within the KOJC compound, which, according to reports from the Daily Tribune, was allegedly used to house victims of mistreatment linked to Quiboloy. According to rumors, the complex was split up to separate ladies according to their physical attributes. On August 28th, the Daily Tribune shared online footage revealing a stark contrast within the facility. One floor featured dimly lit rooms lined with rows of bunk beds, surrounded by bare concrete walls and grimy floors. In stark comparison, other sections showcased more comfortable living spaces, furnished with modern decor and illuminated by bright lighting. Personal belongings, including clothing and items thought to belong to women, were left scattered throughout. During a Senate hearing in Davao, KOJC legal counsel Israelito Torreon dismissed the report as unfounded and accused law enforcement of overstepping its authority in its actions targeting Quiboloy. Mr. Torreon told senators in the same hearing, "What appears to be an arrest operation has already turned into a siege. It is our firm belief that the pursuit of justice must never come at the expense of fairness and due process." Before establishing the Kingdom of Jesus Christ in 1985, Quiboloy was affiliated with the United Pentecostal Church. Although the KOJC incorporates certain traditional Christian doctrines, critics often label it a cult, primarily due to its leader's extraordinary claims, most notably that his birth was marked by a divine visitation, where God descended upon a cloud to proclaim him his son. The Philippine media reports that the KOJC has 2 million members abroad, in addition to 4 million followers in the Philippines. The church operates a chapter in Singapore, though its membership size within the Republic remains unclear. Notably, as of September 6th, the Singapore chapter's Facebook page has amassed over 9,000 followers online. Quiboloy is presently the subject of arrest warrants in both his home country and the United States, where he faces serious allegations. the founder of KOJC, has been placed on the FBI's most wanted list after he and his associates were charged in the United States with human trafficking. According to the indictment, girls and women aged 12 to 25 were allegedly exploited under the guise of serving as his assistants or pastorals. Survivors reported being coerced into performing acts with him, a practice chillingly referred to as night duty. Philippine and U.S. authorities have also accused Quiboloy of orchestrating a labor trafficking operation that sent members of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ to countries like the United States, Canada, and Singapore. This alleged scheme was reportedly used to finance the church's activities and support the extravagant lifestyles of its leaders. For the past 2 weeks, there has been a fierce standoff between Quiboloy's supporters and the PNP. In order to serve Quiboloy's arrest warrant, over 3,000 police officers conducted a raid on the KOJC site on August 24th. During the raid, one churchgoer passed away from a heart attack. Tensions continued to rise. Police deployed tear gas to disperse KOJC members who had earlier barricaded a highway with burning tires. Meanwhile, Quiboloy's loyalists have made repeated attempts to prevent authorities from accessing the compound. On August 29th, a violent confrontation with KOJC members blocking a property gate left around 60 police officers injured. Church leaders accused the police of misusing their authority, leading Mr. De La Rosa, a close ally of former President Duterte, to travel to Davao City and convene a hearing on September 6th. According to analysts, the conflict between the KOJC and the police is a proxy war between Duterte's and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Marcos once shared a prestigious alliance with Vice President Sara Duterte, the daughter of his predecessor. However, that political partnership has unraveled, with Duterte's resignation from Marcos' cabinet in June delivering a decisive blow to the once celebrated Uniteam duo. According to Aries Arugay, a fellow at the ICIA's Yusuf Ishak Institute, it is understandable why the Marcos administration is currently cracking down on Quiboloy. This is a proxy war, a battle between the two dynasties. It's like they are using the case of Quiboloy to test which faction has more influence and which one would blink first, he told the Straits Times. Political analyst Robin Garcia from Manila-based public affairs firm WR Advisory Group said Quiboloy is a key target for Marcos, as the preacher is likely aware of the Duterte family's financial interests. Quiboloy is a keeper of a lot of secrets of the Dutertes. He is a central pillar in the fight, he added. Both analysts suggest that Marcos is under pressure to ensure Quiboloy's arrest while adhering to the rules. Failing to do so could provide the Dutertes with an opportunity to turn the situation against him. Dr. Arugay said, Marcos needs to control the collateral damage of whatever the outcome is going to be. If Quiboloy gets arrested, they will double down on the persecution narrative. But if he evades arrest, the Marcos administration will look weak. He's a well-known pastor with deep connections to the Philippines' most influential power structures. However, for the past 2 weeks, he has been a fugitive. On Sunday, Pastor Apollo Carreon Quiboloy was apprehended. He now faces a slew of charges, including trafficking and mistreatment, and is listed on the FBI's most wanted list. A large-scale operation involving both police and military forces was launched on August 24th to search for Quiboloy at the vast compound of his church, the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Hundreds of the pastor's supporters formed human barricades to obstruct the search efforts. Believing there might be a network of underground bunkers, authorities used earthquake detection sensing machines to monitor underground activity. The weeks-long standoff captivated Filipinos, evoking memories of how Americans watched the Branch Davidian siege near Waco, Texas. Similar to that 1993 standoff, Quiboloy faces accusations of running a cult, and exploiting his influence to extort close acts and money from victims. However, a significant difference lies in Quiboloy's prominence. He is not a fringe figure, but a well-connected ally and confidant of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. Quiboloy faces serious criminal charges in the Philippines and has also been indicted in the U.S., where he is accused of orchestrating an intricate scheme involving trafficking, fraud, and money laundering across the country. Quiboloy surrendered to Filipino authorities on Sunday and was immediately flown from his base in Davao City, located in the southern Philippines, aboard a C-130 aircraft to face court charges in Pasig, a suburb of Manila. Whether Quiboloy may be extradited to the United States, where he could be sentenced to life in prison if proven guilty of the charges against him, is currently a crucial topic. Quiboloy will first be charged with the local offenses that led to his arrest warrant, according to Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who indicated on Monday that the extradition request is not yet there. According to the U.S. indictment, from 2002 to at least 2018, leaders of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ chose girls and young women aged 12 to 25 to serve as pastorals, personal assistants to Quiboloy, who were also allegedly coerced into sleeping, U.S. prosecutors claim. The pastoral responsibilities involved preparing meals for the pastor and maintaining his homes. A subsequent indictment from a federal grand jury in California reveals that the girls also gave him massages using lotion and traveled with him on trips throughout the world, including the U.S. Pastorals engaged in sex with defendant Quiboloy on a schedule that assigned them night duty, the indictment states. The indictment claims that some of the pastorals were minors. It accuses Quiboloy and church leaders of telling the girls and young women that sleeping with the pastor was part of God's plan, threatening them with mistreatment as well as eternal damnation if they refused to comply. According to the accusation, church authorities gave the girls instructions to create commitment letters, promising to dedicate their bodies and lives to Quiboloy as the appointed Son of God. According to the indictment, pastorals who excelled in their duties were rewarded with privileges, such as trips to tourist spots like Disneyland, private jet flights, access to cell phones, and annual payments known as honorariums. The indictment, however, describes the alleged arrangement as a network of commercial close acts. The Kingdom of Jesus Christ deployed workers to Los Angeles and other U.S. cities, seeking donations on the streets for what U.S. prosecutors describe as a fraudulent charity, the Children's Joy Foundation, located in Glendale, Calif. Foundation officials have not responded to requests for comment. According to the U.S. indictment, the employees misled the public into believing that donations would benefit underprivileged children, when in fact, the money directly financed KOJC operations and the lavish lifestyle of KOJC leaders, including defendants. Additionally, it states that Quiboloy owns sizable homes in Hawaii, Las Vegas, and California, all of which are under the jurisdiction of his church. According to the indictment, many workers arrived in the U.S. on student visas, with the church covering their tuition fees. Some were reportedly placed in fraudulent marriages with other church employees to maintain their U.S. residency. The indictment also alleges that church leaders seized workers' passports and immigration documents. Prosecutors, referencing emails, ledgers, and other documents, claim the church maintained meticulous records of workers dispatched to cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York City. An alleged spreadsheet tracked their performance, noting the daily amounts of money they generated, along with their immigration status. The workers solicited on the streets year-round, working very long hours and often sleeping in cars overnight, without normal access to over-the-counter medicine and, at times, sufficient clothing, the indictment states. The funds raised through these efforts made their way to the Filipino church through various channels. These included wire transfers and workers transporting up to $9,000 in cash, hidden in socks within their luggage, as outlined in the indictment. Additionally, large sums of cash were placed on private jets, prosecutors revealed. In February 2018, they alleged that Quiboloy personally carried over $335,000 on a private flight from California to the Philippines. The pastor faces charges in the U.S. indictment, along with 8 co-defendants: Guia Cabactulan, Marisa Duenas, Amanda Estopare, Teresita Tolibas Dandan, Helen Panilag, Felina Salinas, Bettina Padilla Rosas, and Maria de Leon. The preacher and his co-defendants are accused of everything from faking official paperwork to operating local branches of a trafficking organization. The church is officially called the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name. To its members, Quiboloy is revered as the appointed Son of God. Located in Davao City, the church has close ties to the area where Duterte previously served as mayor. Their relationship remains strong, with Duterte recently offering to oversee the church's assets, sparking renewed concerns about the ethics of the reported financial connections between the pastor and the former president. A week after police encircled the compound, Vice President Sara Duterte, the daughter of the former president and a former mayor of Davao City like her father, visited the church to join in celebrating its 39th anniversary. The church runs an extensive media operation, with the pastor broadcasting live-streamed sessions from Glory Mountain, the church's forested estate on Mount Apo, the tallest peak in the Philippines. During his Powerline program last year, Quiboloy claimed that the church's land was evidence that God had restored the Garden of Eden in the Far East. One of the church's key teachings is repentance and the spirit of obedience to the Father's will, according to its website. Its reach is extensive, describing a kingdom nation run by administrators who serve kingdom citizens. Following his detention, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. promised that evangelist preacher Apollo Quiboloy would not be given preferential treatment. The preacher, a staunch supporter of former President Rodrigo Duterte, with a sect of millions of followers, is also sought by U.S. authorities on charges of trafficking and bulk cash smuggling. Marcos told reporters on Monday, "There is no special treatment. We will not violate any of his rights and will not ignore any of his requests, whatever they are. We will demonstrate once again that our judicial system in the Philippines is active, vibrant, and working." But despite being incarcerated, Quiboloy has registered to run for the Senate. The preacher is politically powerful, has millions of followers in his sect, and was Duterte's spiritual advisor.
Doomsday preacher Apollo Quiboloy, in jail for alleged sexual abuse and human trafficking, is running for senator. The COMELEC confirms Quiboloy filed his candidacy through a representative Tuesday, October 8. Quiboloy's COC indicates the Workers' and Peasants' Party nominated him, but WPP officers say they did not sign a CONA for him. There were rumors Duterte would switch candidacy from mayor to senator, but the filing period closed and he didn't turn up.
His candidacy paperwork was filed by his lawyer, Mark Christopher Tolentino, who said, "He wants to be a part of the solution to the problems of our country. He is running because of God and our beloved Philippines." Under the election code, candidates can only be disqualified if they have been declared insane or incompetent, or if they have exhausted all appeals for subversion, insurrection, rebellion, or for any offense for which he has been sentenced to a penalty of more than 18 months, or for a crime involving moral turpitude. In the past, politicians have run for the Senate while being imprisoned and facing criminal charges. Leila de Lima, a vocal opponent of Duterte's war on drugs, spent nearly her entire 6-year term in the Senate behind bars after being arrested on drug-related charges in 2017. The charges against her were widely seen as fabricated and have since been dismissed. In 2022, she ran for re-election while incarcerated, but her campaign was unsuccessful. After being imprisoned on charges of orchestrating a coup attempt, Antonio Trillanes was elected to the Senate in 2007. Jose Estrada, who was acquitted of corruption charges, was elected to the Senate in May 2022. According to President Ferdinand Marcos, Quiboloy will be charged in the Philippines before being extradited to the United States. So, that's all from today's video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks.